Callbacks don't always mean asynchronous. Sometimes they are just functions used inside other functions. This example loops through an array and runs a function for each item. This is callback, but not asynchronous. Let me show you how. So if I refresh this now, you will see that the result will display immediately. You can see that it's popping up an immediate result without any delay. That is because it is an asynchronous callback, because we are making use of array method called for each, and for each method is synchronous. So let's go ahead and build this together. There are 4 steps involved in this example. Number 1, create the array. Step 2 is to call the for each method. Step 3, we need to make the callback function runs once for every item. Step 4 is to build the results and add each value to the output. In JavaScript, we can pass functions into other functions, and this is called a callback. Now, in for each method, as we are going to be seeing in this example, the callback runs for each item in the array, one after the other, just as it was shown in the demo. So let's go ahead and use this array method, which is the for each method, in order to demonstrate how synchronous callback works in JavaScript. So here's my boilerplate code. I don't have anything special. So there is a paragraph tag with an ID of demo1, which I am going to use. And then moving on, I'm just going to move inside the script tag. Or if I want, I can add maybe another paragraph here that we just talked about what we are about to do. Maybe like call a function once for each array elements. So this definitely will do. Yes, call a function once for each array element. So let's now move into our script tag in order to add script code to this. So let's say I have an array of numbers that has some random number 45, 5, 8, 9, 16, and 25. Now, so I have my array. Now, I want to make another variable, which is going to be where I want the value of each output to be stored. So I'll put it as an empty string. Now, it's time to now loop over my array. So in JavaScript, for each method is one of the way through which you can loop over your array. So in my own case, I want to loop over a function, and the function name is my function, which is what you can see here. Now, I can now come down to say when the loop is completed, get element by ID. I want you to store the results inside my variable text, or better said, I can call it txt. So let me use txt instead of text. So I want my variable to be stored here. So I'm saying that this is my array. Then I'm going to make a function, then loop over that function. Make that function to loop over this array, and then output results for each of the array items, and then put the value inside this variable that I set as an empty string here. Now, I can then go ahead and make the function itself. We already know that the function name is my function, and then pass in a value. So the function will take a parameter value, which is each of the elements of the array, and then my text. So each of the value plus a break. So this should print on the screen. Now you can see what I have on the screen. So I have I'm supposed to use demo1 because I discovered that this is no longer showing. That's why I checked and I saw that the demo is overriding this one. So you can see call a function once for each array element. And now you can see that immediately I made this function, then the result appears, which means that there's nothing that is running in the background. And this is a perfect example of a synchronous callback example in JavaScript, because you will get the results immediately. So what this example is doing is that it loops through an array with this array and runs a function for each item. So it goes through each number in the array and runs a function on it. So that is the reason why you can see the result immediately on the screen. So what we have here is a function passed into another function. So now for each itself, execute a function for every element in the array. So the function passed into another function, and this executes a function for every element in an array. This is a parameter which represents a value. It represents each item in this array. So this is an example of a synchronous callback in JavaScript. Now, your homework is this. How many times will this function run? This function that we have here, how many times do you think it will run? How many times do you think this function runs for us to have the output that we have on the screen? So go find an answer to that yourself. So how many times will the function run? Okay, you're already guessing. Well, it will run same as the number of elements. So the number of elements that you have in your array, that is the number of times that the function will run. This lesson is very important because it teaches how JavaScript uses function as values, which leads directly to async callbacks, promises, and event handling in JavaScript. Key takeaways. Number one, for each loops through array. Number two, not all callbacks are asynchronous.